So actually, that's quite interesting that you would have a 90-day retreat. It's actually kind of extraordinary. It's special. Because when you look around the world, you see that there's a lot of conflict and a lot of suffering. And then, who's doing anything about that? And if you are doing something about it, what are you doing about it? So the Buddha did something very interesting when he saw human suffering. He went and sat underneath a tree. So I'm from the United States. In my country, we think if we have a big army, then we can, help the world. Bad idea. But, Americans are kind of like rockheads, so they never get it. And then some people think, well, suffering will go away if we have a lot of money. Or suffering will go away if we can run the whole world. If only I could control my situation, then that would put an end to my suffering. Every human being thinks that way. If I could get what I want, then my suffering would go away. But the Buddha discovered something else. That it's actually because I want something that I suffer, not because I don't get what I want. Very unusual. Very unusual. Because everybody hears on TV, in the newspaper, from your friends, if you get what you want, then you'll be happy. In the United States, we're always selling you something to make you happy, right? Maybe the problem is the perfume you're using is wrong. It's the wrong one. You should try this one over here. Or you're not eating the right food. Or you're not exercising enough. Or you don't have enough education. Or you're not driving the right car. I heard the other day that, there's this German car called the BMW. Well, every place else in the world, they sell a very small version of one kind of BMW car. It's called the 300. But in China, they sell a bigger one. It's just a little bit bigger. It's about 5 centimeters longer that they sell in China. They probably sell it in Hong Kong too. So that bigger car is going to make people happy. That's where that comes from. So always something is going to make you happy. But the Buddha went and sat underneath a tree. Oh, that's crazy. So people come here and sit for 90 days. That's also crazy. Right? When I tell my friends or my family that I'm going to sit for 90 days, then they all start laughing. Ha, you stupid. That, or they don't even understand, why do that? But actually the Buddha is very smart. Also inside has some wisdom. Because he looked around and saw that no matter what he had, and he had everything, he was young, he was handsome, he was rich, He had a very good father, good family. He had a very good job prospects. He was a prince. So he had everything, but then he saw, oh, this isn't going to work. Because there's three things that none of this will help with. And those three things were old age, sickness, and death. So no matter how many cars you have, how young you are, how healthy you are, how good your family is, how sophisticated you are culturally, is very interesting. In Hong Kong now there's a kind of little fight going on. You probably read about it in the newspaper. So the people in Hong Kong sometimes don't like the people who come and visit Hong Kong. Right? It's very funny because in my country, in the United States, we have the same thing going on, right? We don't like the people that come and visit. And mainly you don't like them because they're not like us. Whoever us is. Right? So in my country, I come from the part where people don't like people who are from my part. So if I go visit somebody, they'll say, "Where are you from?" And then I usually don't tell them. I say I'm from somewhere else. Because I know inside their mind, they'll think. So that kind of thing is always happening. Always happening. We like this and we don't like that. And then we think we're right. Right? In fact, we know that we are right. So that's just that's part of the dream we live in. You know, the Buddha said we live in a dream and you have to wake up from your dream. So he also lived in a dream. He lived in a prince dream. He lived in a my country is a good country dream. He lived in a I'm young dream. He also lived in a I'm a man dream. He also lived in a I'm a very smart person dream. But then he went and sat underneath a tree. Then one day, he woke up from his dream. So Buddhism, particularly Chinese-style Zen, has some very interesting techniques to wake you up from your dream. Very interesting. And these techniques tend to be kind of shocking. So, you know, sometimes everybody's experienced this. You're sitting and practicing meditation. Then something will happen that kind of shocks you. Like, hand me that. Like this. Happens many times. So that's a kind of technique to wake you up. But you don't think much about it. But these old Tang Dynasty Zen masters had invented many techniques to wake people up from their dream. You know, these old Chinese teachers are very, 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 very smart and very wise. So some of these techniques are not so nice, you know. Yeah? So there was this one teacher named Wang Po, comes from around where you live. And he had a student called Lin Chi. And this is Lin Chi Zen master before he became a Zen master. He behaved very well. He did nothing wrong. And when he lived at the temple, nobody could criticize him because he never did anything wrong. Then one day the head monk told him, well, you should go see this Wang Po Zen master and ask him about Buddhism. So he went in, bowed. Then Wang Po took a stick and beat him after he asked his question. So that's an interesting technique. beat a person with a stick. You know, if you did that in my country, you'd be in jail. So I never use that technique. So then he's really injured, so he crawls out of the room and goes back to the head monk and says, well, that didn't work out so well. I asked my question and he didn't say anything, he just beat me with a stick. And then the head monk said, well, you know, maybe he didn't understand your question. Go in and ask it again. Same thing happens. He gets beat. Then he crawls out. He goes back to the head monk and says, there's some problem here. Then the head monk says, well, you know, he probably just didn't understand what you're saying. Why don't you go try it again? Then again, he gets hit. Then he doesn't like that, so he decides to leave. Right? So, at the Zen Center, if anything happens you don't like, you leave, right? Many people do that all the time. It happens all the time. Like my teacher, Zen Master Sun Sung, after teaching for 25 years, probably 90% of the people left because he didn't like that. Right? And if you listen closely to what the Buddha said, you are not going to like what he said. I always think if people like Buddhism, it's because they're not listening. Right? Anytime somebody says, oh, I just love Buddhism, I think, you stupid. You're not listening to what the Buddha said. Very funny. Ha ha ha, right? So then, Lin Chi didn't like this beating, so he went to visit Wang Po said, go and visit this other teacher. Now, this other teacher is called, in Korean he's called Dae Kwang. I don't know in Chinese. Probably Da U, Tai Gu in Cantonese, right? So his name means big stupid. So it means he's like really, what? So his name means he's really stupid. His name is really stupid, right? So he goes and visits him, and he says, I don't like what happened. And then Big Stupid says, well, tell me what happened. He said, well, I went in and asked him about Buddhism, and all he did was beat me, almost beat me to death with a stick. And then Big Stupid says, oh, that Wang Po, he's just like an old grandmother giving you, in English we'd say milk and cookies. Then Lin Chi, oh, of course. It's like hearing that bell. You hear that bell? Now that's quite shocking what he said. Because he said, oh, that Wang Po is just like an old grandmother. So you know how your old grandmother treats you, right? You like to go there because she treats you really nice. Not like your mother, right? Treats you very nice. So that's interesting. This is very violent thing, actually. And then he said, the Big Stupid says, he's treating you like an old grandmother would treat you. Then he gets this big enlightenment. So that's a kind of shocking technique to wake him up from his dream. So there's many kinds of these shocking things that happen. And they happen to all of us. Actually, they happen to you all the time. So somebody dies in your family, that's actually if you watch closely, Watch closely when somebody dies, like your mother or your father dies. But then right away you go back to your regular thinking. Also, human beings will have what we call in English near-death experiences. Like if you ever fly internationally, the plane will go like, right? The plane will hit some turbulence and it goes, then if you don't travel much, you get this big shock because you don't know what's going on, right? So for just a second, you wake up from your dream because you think you're going to die. Also, sitting this 90-day retreat is also a shocking technique. Except it happens so slow and over such a long period of time that you don't even know that it happened to you. Right? But when you leave the retreat, then that's kind of a shock. So we have many, many kinds of techniques like that, and that's to wake you up. That's all. It's not to teach you anything. It's not to give you anything. It's just to wake you up. So it's just kind of like this, if he's sitting here kind of asleep, then I go, and up, wake him up. That's the only job that all of that has, is to wake you up. So sometimes what we say can be shocking. Like, it was very funny. I gave a talk on Chinese New Year's time. Right? So Ming Hoi Fasi says to me, don't say anything bad. Because she knows I'm a Zen teacher, so for sure I'm going to say something bad. Something's going to shock somebody. You're like, why did he say that? Right? But I didn't say anything bad. So I'll give you an example of something bad. One time I was sitting like you are, listening to Zen Master Sung Sung talk like this. Then he said, human beings are really stupid. Okay, well that isn't so shocking. Everybody knows that. But then he added, human beings are really stupid because they're always thinking about the past and the future. Well, that isn't so shocking because, even if you sat here just for one day, already when you watch your mind and you're sitting, already you're thinking about, what's going to happen tomorrow. I have to go back to work, and are we going to be able to catch the cab or the bus to go back to town? Or last 2 weeks ago, I had a really nice dinner at my mother's house. So you notice you spend a lot of time thinking about the past and the future. So that wasn't so shocking either. So human beings are stupid. Okay. They think a lot about the past and the future. Okay. Then the next thing, the third thing he said, though, really shocked me because I never actually thought about it, but I experience it all the time. Then he said, they think about these two things, and these two things do not exist. And that really shocked me. The past and the future do not exist. What does it mean? So when he said that, I had one of those wake-up moments, kind of like when Wang Po beat Lin Chi with a stick. So it's very interesting. The past, and we think we spend all this time thinking about two things that do not exist: the past and the future. But I'd read it in a sutra, but I never thought, I never heard it that way before. So, in the Diamond Sutra it says, past mind, and you can't get a hold of past mind. We say, in Zen we say, past mind can't get enlightenment, can't wake up. And then it also says that future mind, you can't get a hold of that either. So everybody knows their future mind, well, where? And then it says something even more shocking. It says present mind also, you can't hold on to it. Right? And in other words, present mind also, you can't get a hold of it. So that's interesting. But yet we spend all of this energy. He said we spend 80% of our life energy thinking about two things that don't exist. Imagine you're using 80% of your energy. Your life energy is precious, right? And you're spending it on two things that don't exist: the past and the future. Wow, that really shocked me when I heard that. So it kind of sounds interesting philosophically, right? The past and the future don't exist. But think about it in terms of your life. Like, give me 1 second of the past. Can anybody here just give me 1 second of the past? Can't. And then give me 1 second of the future. Can't, right? But you're always thinking about it. You can think about it, but you don't have it. So what do you have? So, I forget when it was. It was a lot more than 20 years ago. Anyway, we were sitting a 90-day retreat in Korea. And I think it was 1986, so we were sitting 90 days. So the retreat starts. At the beginning of a 90-day retreat, everybody's really scared, right? 90 days gone, I'm going to die. I'm not going to be able to survive this, that's for sure. So everybody's thinking that way. So everybody's a little bit scared. So we start. And at the end of the very first day, one monk leaves. Boing! He is gone. His sleeping bag is there, but he's gone. Then, right away you think, whoa, where'd he go? But, 90 days, so you kind of forget, So we're doing the same, 90 days. Okay, we're going to do it. So we do it. So on day 89, this monk comes back. And sits there. Then, also Zen Master Sung came back on the last day, right? Because he'd been in Europe teaching or something, he comes back for the last day of Kyolche, right? So then he goes around the room and congratulates everybody for doing the 90-day retreat. And he shakes my hand, he shakes everybody's hand, including the monk that left on the first day. Oh, congratulations on sitting the 90 days. Then we all think, that monk didn't sit 90 days. Why is he congratulating me for doing the 90-day retreat? In fact, I could say to all of you, congratulations on finishing the 90-day retreat. Congratulations. And it wouldn't be wrong. And you know why it wouldn't be wrong? Because a 90-day retreat is that. So if you wake up just now, that's a 90-day retreat. Because the 90-day retreat's job is to wake you up not 10 minutes ago, and not 10 minutes in the future. Just now. So you hear the bird, yeah? Buddha saw a star, yeah? He'd been sitting for 6 years, saw a star. You've been sitting for 1 day or 90 days, you hear the bird, yeah? That's it. Very interesting. Because in the sutra it says, 1 instant of thought is 10,000 kalpas. 1 instant of thought is 10,000 kalpas. So you know how long a kalpa is? How long is it? It's a block of stone.
And a block of,
1
not
mile?
concrete, but a granite stone.
Stone, right.
1 mile high, 1 mile
3
long,
kilometers.
and 1 mile width, wide.
Yeah. So it's a
So
block
it's-
of granite that's
Okay.
3 kilometers on each edge.
And
Right?
every
100 years.
100 years, the angel Deva will come from the 33rd
Heaven.
heaven and fly next to this block
Of stone.
stone, and the cloth, the silk cloth, will touch the wall, stone wall, and then go back to heaven and come back in 100 years to do the same thing. So the time this being needs to completely
Wear away
wear away this granite is 1 kalpa.
Right. So 1 instant of thought is 10,000 of those. What that means is, this is it. Right? Because it has a behind meaning. But the words are intended to shock you. So you notice if you read the sutras closely, they're shocking. But thinking about them isn't going to help you. You actually have to experience it. Interesting. Because thinking is not going to help you. Zen Master Sun Sung is always saying that. Thinking is not going to help you. And everybody says, yeah, right. Soon I'll figure this out. There has to be an angle somewhere, I'm going to figure this one out. But he's always saying, thinking's not going to help you. So that's why, if you just came for today, you did the 90-day retreat. And if you sat here for 90 days, some of us sat here for 90 days, then you finished the 90-day retreat. They're the same. That's why you went around and congratulated everybody. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. So Buddha sees a star. Congratulations. Ojin Popsani hears a bird. Oh, congratulations. That's a human being. A human being only lives in just this moment. We call that moment world. But you think you live somewhere else. That's made by your thinking. That's actually your dream. So when Buddha sees a star, it's just like this. It's the same. So our job is moment to moment to moment to moment to moment, wake up. So you've probably heard this, but now you understand what it means. If I ask you a kongan, then you can't answer. Maybe. I don't know. Then you can think anything about that. You can think, oh, I'm stupid, or oh, I'm not as good as the Buddha, or this Zen master is really smart and I'm dumb. Or when I was in school, I could never answer questions. And this is just like that. So you can think many, 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 many things. But that's just your dream. We call that your kongan dream. Actually, here's the way it is. Good answer and bad answer are exactly the same. Right? Nobody believes that. Answer appears, answer doesn't appear, exactly the same. Exactly the same. Because the koan is not important. It's not important at all. It's just a technique. But you think it's something else. Because you want the koan to be inside your dream. But the koan is to take you outside of your dream. So Lin Chi didn't like Wang Po hitting him. He didn't like it. It's not very nice. Teachers shouldn't be hitting their students with big sticks. But the meaning lies somewhere else. Very interesting. So, 90-day retreat. Stupid. Human beings, look at all the suffering. That's stupid. Wake up. That's smart. So why not do that in your life? Moment to moment to moment to moment. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Because there's nothing to get, because this is it. So we always say, if you don't want anything, you get everything. And why is that? Because if you want something, you're not living in this moment world. You're living in your past world, or maybe your future world. Or maybe you're living in a just now world, but it already went by. So wake up means let go of those. Then, why do you get everything? Because this is everything. This, I hate to tell you this, is it. So, even though you sat a 90-day retreat, you don't get that. Even though you sat here for one day, you don't get that. In fact, you don't get anything. Which is why Zen is so unpopular. So the sixth patriarch, Wei Nung, said, teaching Zen is difficult. That's why he said that. Because you don't get anything. All you get is your life, which is just now. So yeah, 90 days, that's wonderful. Just now is wonderful. But better than all that is, wake up. Just now. Then that means become one. Become one with your life. Moment to moment to moment. Now your mind is thinking, I like that. I don't like that. How come it's like that? This is boring. How come those mainland Chinese people are coming to visit us? It's always thinking that kind of stuff. That's not a problem. Actually, the mind is designed to do that. Just don't attach to it. Let go, let go, let go. Then you can hear the bird. You can hear the translation going on in the back of the room. You might even hear what I say. I might even hear what I say. Then, boom, that's it. Not special. Because there is nothing special, because there is nothing. But that just means this moment, wake up. Try that. It's much better than the other thing, because the other thing, not waking up, is human suffering in all of its forms. And those forms are really bad. Really bad. So thank you for coming and practicing for this Kilche. And then moment to moment to moment, just do it. Become one. That means wake up. Okay?